All right, we got 4 teams on bye next week. The Giants, the Patriots, the 49ers, and the Panthers. So let's beat the waiver wire for week 14. Welcome, everybody. Friday, November 28th. We've already had 6 teams play, and the Eagles are about to play and the Bears. So that eliminates a lot of teams in terms of beat the waiver wire. You can't go pick up and stash those players. But anyway, Jamey's here instead of Dave. We appreciate Jamey stepping in. Let's start with some quarterbacks to beat the waiver wire with for next week.
I have 2.5 quarterbacks for you.
Ooh, okay.
So the 2 I think that are worth, one for sure would be Tua Tagovailoa. Gets the Jets. This is the next 4 games. Gets the Jets. This is week 14. Jets, Steelers, Bengals, Bucks. So potential for some good matchups. Potential for maybe some shootouts there if the Steelers offense against the Dolphins. Certainly the Bengals offense and the Bucks. Tua may have to throw, and we know that there's the chance of Darren Waller coming back as early as week 13. The next would be Tua's opponent next week, which is Tyrod Taylor. So he gets the Dolphins, which we know is a shaky matchup in terms of what they allow to opposing quarterbacks, but I don't think that's necessarily indicative of who they are. Then he gets the Jaguars in week 15 and the Saints in week 16. So 3 potential matchups in two super flex or 2 quarterback leagues. The next, the half, is interesting because the Vikings, these are their next 3 opponents: Washington, Dallas, and the Giants.
I know.
3 very favorable matchups. So it could be McCarthy or it could be Brosmer. And if Brosmer plays well this week against Seattle, maybe he's the starter for the rest of the way. So super flex 2 QB leagues, pick him up. Obviously McCarthy if you want to trust him, but I was just looking at schedules clearly here. Not the best situation. A lot of quarterbacks are stashed. The good ones are stashed already.
Yeah, they really are. Hope you have your quarterback for the stretch run. How about running back? It's never easy to find running backs.
No, but there are some options. So Chris Rodriguez Jr., we know not an easy matchup this week against Denver, but 45% rostered. Minnesota, we talked about this on the Friday episode, that they're Jekyll and Hyde in terms of their run defense. Then the Giants, and then Philadelphia. So one decent matchup in there for sure against New York. But otherwise, clearly he's going to have the role. At least that's what we anticipate. Next would be Devin Singletary. So they're on a bye in week 14, but they come off their bye: Washington, Minnesota, Las Vegas. So 2 matchups I think they're encouraging. And if you recall, again, it could be a Kafka thing, it could be a Jameis thing, but the better running back after Scadaboo got hurt with Dart was Singletary. So just something to keep in mind there, but obviously he's going to have a role. Blake Corum I just put because of a high-end handcuff situation, 39% rostered. If you're the Kyron Williams manager, you should have him on your team just in case. But obviously if you're looking for a league-winning guy, potential injury situation, they get Arizona, Detroit, Seattle, and Atlanta. Not an easy schedule, but I still think you want to roster Blake Corum. Next 2 guys are worth monitoring. We actually just got news on one potential situation. Jaleel McLaughlin went into their bye week. Remember, he looked like he's the number 2 guy behind RJ Harvey. We know Harvey hasn't exactly proven himself yet, but McLaughlin, 32% rostered. Their next 3 games, 2 are favorable: Las Vegas, Green Bay. Or sorry, I should say 1 is favorable: Las Vegas, then Green Bay, then Jacksonville. But McLaughlin, if he does end up in the lead role there. And then Trey Benson was just ruled out for week 13. We don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the Cardinals backfield. I said this on the Friday episode. Michael Carter should be rostered now. He's 11% rostered as of Friday morning, Friday afternoon, excuse me. Rams, Texans, Falcons, Bengals. 2 difficult matchups, 2 favorable matchups. So if Carter does end up in the lead role for the Cardinals at some point, you want to have him on your team.
All right, we're going to take a break here. And yeah, pretty incredible how we were pretty excited about Trey Benson. I just don't know if it's ever going to happen. Hopefully next week, but we'll see. All right, we're going to take a break and get to wide receivers, tight ends, DSTs to stash for week 14 and beyond. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Jamey, wide receivers.
Yeah, a lot of these names we've talked about as recently as Tuesday with the Waiver Wire show. So I'll just give you the names and then we can run through schedules. But you got Darnell Mooney, 54% rostered. Jaden Higgins, 48% rostered. Darius Slayton, 31% rostered. Chimere Dike, 21% rostered. John Mechie, 18% rostered. And then this is a new one, just because we don't know what's going to happen with the Buffalo situation. But Brandon Cooks, he was just signed to the Bills, claimed off waivers. He's 4% rostered. So Mooney, we don't know when Drake London is going to come back after this week. It's a brutal schedule, at least for 3 of the 4 games. Seattle, then Tampa Bay, which we like, Arizona, and the Rams. Not great for the Falcons' upcoming schedule there, but obviously we don't know when London's going to return. For the Texans and Jaden Higgins, not exactly easy also, but Again, 48% rostered. He gets Kansas City in week 14, Arizona week 15, Las Vegas week 16, and the Chargers in week 17. For Darius Slayton, the reason I put him on this list, he was clearly playing a little bit better with Dart than he was with Jameis, and still dealing with this hamstring injury. He's on the injury report even heading into week 13, but has a bye to heal up, and then they come off their bye week. Washington, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Dallas. 3 very favorable matchups there with the Commanders, the Raiders, and the Cowboys. So Slayton, if you want to stash him for the playoff run, he might be able to make some plays.
Cowboys are week 18?
I have week 17, unless I missed something.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It is week 18.
Because they have to buy. Yeah.
I had to buy in there. DK, we know, has been, up and down, but with Calvin Ridley out for the season, we don't know when Iomeyer is going to return. Could be this week. But gets Cleveland in week 14, then San Francisco, then Kansas City, then New Orleans. So 2 matchups that might be favorable for him. Mechie, Dolphins, Jags, and Saints. Love that if he's still the guy, depending on Garrett Wilson's situation. And then for Cooks, gets the Bengals in week 14, the Patriots week 15, the Browns week 16, and the Eagles week 17. So not easy, but maybe he's a playmaker for Josh Allen.
Tight ends. Any good tight ends stash?
Tight ends fun. Again, a lot of names we've talked about already. Darren Waller, we'll see if he's activated this week, but gets the Jets, the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Bucks. Dalton Schultz, I don't know why he's not rostered in more leagues, 57%. The Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Chargers. Brenton Strange, another guy surprised not rostered in more leagues, only 38%. Colts, Jets, Broncos, Colts again. So we know the Colts secondary on the perimeter, not easy. So Strange could be a big playmaker for Trevor Lawrence. Taysom Hill, let's see what happens with his backfield for New Orleans. He's 14% rostered. And I don't know if you're aware of this. He could also be started at quarterback. So Superflex or 2 QB leagues. I know we start him at tight end, but we can also start him at quarterback too. So Tampa Bay, Carolina, the Jets, and Tennessee. Imagine if he got triple eligibility, like if it was like baseball or basketball where you can move guys around. He could be a running back too.
Yeah.
Colby Parkinson, we talked about this with him. 3 touchdowns in 3 straight games, a touchdown in 3 straight games going into week 13. But starting in week 14, Arizona, Detroit, Seattle, and Atlanta. And then Gunnar Helm, another guy that we've mentioned recently, 2% rostered. Cleveland, San Francisco, Kansas City, and New Orleans in the next 4 games.
All right, we'll finish up with some DSTs to keep on your bench.
I only did week 14 options. So 3 that I like that have potentially favorable matchups. Bucks get the Saints. Chiefs get the Texans. We know the Texans offense has been hit or miss. They're back in Kansas City. I feel like Kansas City's defense might have to, keep this game low scoring. And then the Dolphins, they get the Jets. So we said this on Friday's show. If you want to get the Dolphins for 2 weeks, they get New Orleans in week 13 and then the Jets in week 14.
All right. And if you're looking ahead to week 15, because some people already want to stash DSTs for the playoffs, the Chicago Bears have Cleveland in week 15.
Bucks have a good one too.
Bucks, they have Atlanta on Thursday in week 15. And San Francisco has the Titans. You can look at them. Okay, that's Jamie. Thank you so much. I'm Adam. We will talk to you next time on FFT Express. Sunday morning, we'll have your starts and sits for you, your news updates. Later, everyone.